Hello, guys. Good morning. I'm not sure you guys can hear me yet. Hello. Hello. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Can you guys hear me? Hello. Sam, can you hear me? Okay, I think I have some challenges with my headset here. I'm gonna try again. How about now? If you can type in the chat box, please do. Because I'm not hearing anybody. Oh, you can hear me. That's strange. I'm gonna run my headset for now. Okay. Well, okay. I think I know what is going on. Okay. Can somebody speak now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, finally. Yeah, that's the thing with technology, sometimes kind of get you a little bit frazzled. So nice to have you guys here. I can see Goke, I can see Samuel, Grace, Adelby. Who else is here with us? Daniel. Okay, so nice to have everybody. Yeah, I think there were some folks. Sam, I think you were the one that sent me a message about not receiving the Zoom. Did you receive it eventually? You got it in your email?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, great. Because I just want to make sure that there are no other guys experiencing the same issue. Because it will make it a little bit difficult for people to join in. So nice to have you guys here. Really appreciate taking the time out, especially the guests that we're having today. It's good to have that opportunity for us to join in as a community of foreign trained professionals to share our experience, to share our insights. And I mean, this is the reason why we set up the Supply Jobs Canada Network. So a little bit background of our network here, called Supply Jobs Canada Network. We started as a WhatsApp group, right? And that's about 6 years ago. We were having these challenges with barriers in Canada as foreign trained professionals with several years of experience. And we thought, okay, well, why not be the solution? If there are some guys who are already in the industry, let us share how we've been able to make this happen to, overcome the barriers and transition successfully into our desired goal, our careers here. And that has taken us thus far. We now have a platform where we have over 1,000 professionals on this platform, and then we recently have been offering different types of support, even professional development. We have gotten partnership with Association for Supply Chain Management, where we also can offer certification and all of that stuff. And by the way, today we started the CSCP certification being facilitated by Jide Olajide Adetunji, one of our senior mentors in the group. So my name is Abiodun Oke. I'm the coordinator for the network, the founder as well. But it's a collective effort. Like I always say, it's a commonwealth. We have several people who continuously put, pay forward in this network, and that is what the guests that we're having today are doing. They're paying it forward as well. They've been able to journey through all of those challenges to this point where they have been able to transition successfully to their desired career here in Canada. So today is an opportunity for them to share with us their experiences, their challenges, and also to share this with you guys who probably are still navigating these challenges, so that you can avoid some errors, to help you save, like I always say, save you the tears, the blood, and the and the sweat. Because even if a lot of people are not coming out to say what their struggle is, we know it. We've been there, and this will be an opportunity for these guys to share this with you. And all of that said, I will give the guests an opportunity to introduce themselves. So let's start with Daniel. We'll go to Grace, Chidima after that, and then we go to Funke afterwards. So let's take it in that order. So Daniel, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Well,
Good afternoon, everyone.
okay, go ahead. We would like to see you on the camera if you don't mind. Okay, great. That's what I'm talking about.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Go ahead.
Okay, so what's the format? What do you want to?
Just give us a little bit background of yourself. Maybe it would be important to know, okay, what background you had prior to transitioning, and what industry do you work in now, your job title, something like that.
Okay. Nice to be here as a guest speaker today. My name is Daniel Omoingui. As you all know, I'm from Nigeria. Back in Nigeria, I was into banking. My first degree was in physics. I think I had an MBA in Nigeria too. I worked with First Bank. I did 10 years in banking operations, branch operations, before relocating to Canada in 2017 with my family. So presently, I work as, I recently changed a job in December, so I'm presently working as purchasing parts sales coordinator with aircraft maintenance services or solutions company here in the Ontario.
Awesome, great. Thanks, Daniel. Okay, let's go to Grace.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Grace Olusoji. I'm happy to be here. First of all, I have been a participant in previous years. I think about 6 years ago that 5 years ago that Abiodun was talking about, and I've been a beneficiary of this platform, and I would say that I've learned a great deal from this platform towards my transitioning. Before I immigrated to Canada as a student, I came for my master's degree. After my master's degree, several career. I had so many jobs. I think I've changed job like 4 or 5 times. I started from the lowest, the customs clerk, and now a buyer. What else am I supposed to talk about?
So what background you had before now?
Okay, before I came to Canada, my first degree is in accounting.
Okay.
I did a little bit of accounting. I worked with telecoms company, and then I transitioned a little bit of procurement before I came.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had industry knowledge before I came, but then penetrating when I got here was still tough.
Was still uneasy for sure. Yeah.
It was challenging.
Hey, thanks so much, Grace. Are you there, Chidima?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, so my name is Chidima. I did move into Canada 2022. I have a BS in chemistry. And after that, I joined the oil and gas. I've always worked as a chemist in the oil and gas, the drilling aspect, like laboratory aspect, and then when I came into, I also have an MBA. So when I came into Canada in 2022, I started looking for jobs still in my field. It was challenging until I met Abiodun, yeah, who tried to he tried to do value proposition to see my strengths, my weaknesses, because I met a couple of people who advised me to go into business analysis. So he played a great role in my transition. Yeah, so right now I work with the government of Manitoba as a business analyst.
Awesome, awesome, great. Yeah, we're going to go into the details later, so you can keep the details for sure. We'll go into all of that, the challenges and how you've been able to really navigate successfully to your desired career here. So, Funke, go for it.
Hi everyone, my name is Funke Adewako. I relocated to Canada some years ago and transitioning. Back in Nigeria, I worked as a procurement officer slash accounts officer, and relocating to Canada was a different ballgame entirely. And in the process, I ventured into different things, but ended up in healthcare. I worked in healthcare as a healthcare attendant for quite a while before transitioning into supply chain. And presently, I work as an inventory coordinator in the retail sector. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks, Funke, for that introduction. And I think the great thing here is that we have people from different backgrounds. And Chidima, had this chemical engineering background from the oil and gas sector. Funke had, accounting, I suppose, if I still remember very well. But then she started.
I have a mathematics background.
Yeah, statistics. Yeah, I remember statistics. Yeah, and Daniel was into banking, and then Grace, I think, was into some sort of. She's transitioned already while in Nigeria, but then she had a little introduction into the procurement space. So I like the diversity of everybody that we are having here today. It's really great to have everybody. So why don't we start with some type of information that could really get us some insight into your motivation, really, because it's one thing for people to say, I want to go and do this particular profession, either it's the supply chain, it's project management, business analysis. Can you give us some insight into what really your motivation is, for, looking to transition into the supply chain career? I think I would start with Daniel, if we can. Daniel first, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay. For me, when I came in as a new immigrant, then, there's this concept of, everybody want to start off with a survival job before you get something professional to do. When I came to Canada, I didn't really want to go into banking anymore because of some of the experiences I had back in Nigeria. I said, well, I need to try something different. So I started off working in supply chain warehousing operations, right? So that's when I started getting some concepts about supply chain. So, okay, well, I was finding things interesting, some of the roles, some of the functions I was playing. I said, okay, well, it would be a nice industry for me to explore, I started asking questions, interacting with some persons that were there to get an insight on how best to transition into that space of supply chain management. And at some point, I decided to go back to school to do a postgraduate certificate program in supply chain that could easily help me transition properly into supply chain. So my motivation was, my first job in Canada was into supply chain warehousing operation. So I decided to just continue in that path.
Okay, great, awesome. So, Chidima, yeah, your background is is very interesting, right? Because you had a chemical engineering background. I think I remember where we met. I think you already asked CBAP when we met, and
Yes, I already did.
yeah, and then there was this challenge with how do you really make that leap because you didn't have a business analysis or project management background. You were a technical person, right? So can you really give us insight as to why business analysis? I mean, amongst every other thing that you could have done.
Yeah, so when I came, as I said earlier, I started looking for a job in my previous role I did in Nigeria. So yeah, I got some interviews with some pharmaceutical companies, but I did not scale through. So it became really frustrating, and all I could hear people say is you have to do survivor jobs, and it's it's something I never dreamt of doing. So it was like, better I just go back home. I can't do this. Yeah, it was becoming really crazy until I met a friend. Yeah, who told me about business analysis, and then she tried to tell me that, oh, in Nigeria, we do all these things, but we don't give it the name as business analysis. So yeah, so with the information I gathered from her, I became so interested in changing the career path to say, okay, since this is what I've always done back home, I think it's something I can also do here. So I was able to join a group, practice for CBAP certification, got that, and then so yeah. So I'll say really what motivated me in changing was the difficulty, the challenges I had in getting a job in my previous role. Yeah, so that
Okay.
was the drive
So
changing
basically,
my career.
you try to explore something probably that will give you the opportunity to do a professional role.
Yeah.
Apparently, okay, great, great, yeah. Thanks for sharing. Grace, I mean, you already had some taste of procurement, but maybe you can really put some light into, okay, well, you got some little experience before you came over, but what is that thing that actually kept you going in that same direction? Because I remember there was a time you were actually taking the CSCP certification, and there was a bit of a struggle, and you were like that time. I'm like, it's going to happen. But just keep at it. So I would like to hear from you. What were those things that actually kept you on track? Committed to this transition.
So after I graduated, I finished my master's degree in logistics and supply chain management because that was what I graduated 2016 September. After I finished school, I worked I did a little bit of part-time job in inventory control. But upon graduation, I was now trying. I expected that okay, since I have a master's degree, I should just apply and they would just call me. But then it was proving difficult. Every attempt I was trying became frustrating. So, and then I was advised that okay, I should take the CSCP certification. So, I was so confident about CSCP, I took the certification and then I failed twice. Because after I failed twice, a friend and a friend slash mentor, that was when she introduced me to Abiodun. And then that's when I attended one of these platforms and then they were encouraging me and all. And then I was able to eventually pass after I passed after maybe 6 attempts.
What?
Wow.
It was frustrating.
Yeah.
So I remember each session I come, I would message Abedon privately. Every time I would be like, I don't know, what can I do? How can I pass this exam? Because I found out that even though you have the experience, but breaking into the market was very difficult. They don't trust your experience from back home. So what eventually helped me to be able to break forth was the certification. I think about 3 months after I got the certification, after I passed, that's when. Before then, I know I attended a couple of interviews. After they invited me because of my degree, but then during the interview, the skills were lacking. I was scale through education wise, job everything, but then my Excel skill was lacking. So as I was taking the CSCP certification, I went back as well to take. I went for a data analytics boot camp where I was able to brush up my Excel skills with my CSCP certification, and that was when an employer was able to take somebody was and then before I was looking for roles for senior purchasing buyer, like senior procurement specialist, like I was looking for those big roles. I couldn't get it, and then I dropped down my search for material planner. So it was material planner that got me the job. I was able to help me, and then the reason why the my employer employed me, then the manager then that employed me, he said it's not that it's okay that I have my education and that I have my certifications, and that's the reason why he wants to give me the job. That's the entry level of the procurement role, and after they tested my Excel skill as well, and that was how I was able to eventually get through. So that's my story.
Awesome. I mean, to me, your story is a story of a person who didn't give up, regardless of those challenges. Because I can remember that period specifically that where you were taking it, and then we had a session with, I think with some other guys relating to mock interviews, and I think that was the time we were talking about your challenges with CSCP as well. So nice to have you share this. We'll go into some of the details. However, let's take Funke first, and then we'll continue from there. Funke, let's hear what your own motivations are. I mean, sorry, before you go, Funke. So I think your own experience is very, very unique, because I realized that you've actually had about 10 years experience in the healthcare here in Canada before you actually transitioned. So to me, I feel like a lot of people would have given up already if they have, stayed that long in healthcare. So I'm really amazed that, okay, there really has to be something that is pushing you, that you can't give up on this transition for a period of 10 years. I mean, so I would really like to hear some of those inspirations.
Well, I'll say when I relocated some years ago, I'll say now it's a lot better. And then the reason being that I had younger kids then, and just like others said, people were like, oh, you're looking for a job, you're looking for your career, you might not get. I kept going for interviews, but they were asking for Canadian experience. So they were like, you better do survival job, which I ended up in healthcare. And before I knew it, it was flexible for me because I had younger kids. But something kept pushing me that this is not where you belong. Because I found out that on the job and when I relate with my managers or my supervisor, they kept on telling me that you're not supposed to be here. So that went on for a while, and in the process, I went back to school. What I ended up doing was I went back to school. I took supply chain management course online while working as well. And after that, fortunately, we used to have P&D with my supervisor in the office. So she got talking to me, and after my P&D, she was like, "Oh, how do we come in to help you?" So that was when I told her I was doing a course, and I wouldn't mind if they're able to recommend me. So when it was time for internship, my supervisor gladly recommended me to the logistics department in Winnipeg Regional Health. So where I ended up having my internship. But above all, I would say determination, being pushful, and not taking no for an answer. That was what kept me going.
Determination, not taking no for an answer. Wow, that's huge, right? And
Yeah.
I realize that when you come into Canada, there are actually a lot of people who have given up already, and
Yeah,
especially
I
in
will
the
say that.
especially in the
But
healthcare space, right?
I will say now it's a lot better. The reason why I said it's a lot better, then you are limited with childcare. I had a 3.5-year-old.
Mm.
So I was stuck with him. There was no daycare. So I was stuck with him for like 4 months. In the process, going for job stuff. So I had to like, oh, can I put him here and then quickly go? But immediately I had just 2 kids, and my second child, when she clocked 10, 9, 10, that was when I decided I'm going back to school. So I had to do something flexible. So
Yeah.
I still had time for them, but I was schooling at the same time. So immediately I knew she could stay on her own for 12 at age 12, and I know I'm free.
Okay. Wow. That's quite a juggle, right?
Yeah, it is, because they had activities you had to like. Though my husband works with he works with the government, so which made it easier. So at least the two of us just had to juggle them with their activities, taking them for games, and so that's. I got stuck in healthcare for a while, but it was a good experience for me and a learning curve as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one just have to look at it in that way that this is a learning process. Otherwise, you know, the chances that you're going to give up is, it's pretty there. But once you realize that this is something about, it's challenging, but then what can you learn from it, and how can that help you to get better, either in your career or even in life generally. So thanks, guys, for sharing those experiences. I think the one question I would like to ask, since we already talked about what those are in terms of the challenges, so are there any specific challenges you experience that you would like to share? So, so everybody goes through this thing. We know it, oh, there are barriers, there are, not recognizing your work experience and all of these things. But are there some type of unique challenges in your own transition? And let us know what those challenges really were in terms of the specific ones and beyond. Okay, there is a Canadian work experience issues, right? Maybe we'll take it from Funke, since you the person that just spoke now.
Well, I'll say for me, even just like what I think, I don't know if it was Grace that said it, that even when you get your certification or you went to school, there's still some skill sets that you're lacking and you need to work on. So for me, I've been out of the corporate world for a while, so I was pretty great. So I had to learn a lot of things on the go on my own, and with the help of Abiodun, which came in handy as well, really helped. But I'll say um, Excel skill is one thing that is very, very paramount. I thank God that I was able to. I learned from Biodu, and I had to do some other small short courses online as well, just to keep me going. And I had series of interview after I met Biodu, but one thing that that really that really sticked out was that even though they didn't call me, I'd forgotten about some. They just called me out of the blues. Are you interested in this? We're looking for a particular, even though I've had interviews with them. But with that being said, there are quite a number of challenges. I'll say as well, for me, communication skill is very key. Even though yes, you can speak, but for us Nigerians, there is a way that we talk that some people will tell you, "Oh, I can't hear you, your accent." Everybody's got an accent, but the one thing is like make your communication as clear as possible, clear and concise. That's one thing I learned. Even though I worked in the healthcare, I work with people every day. I speak with people every day. You keep hearing that.
Yeah.
And he keep telling, oh, I can't hear you. And he's like, I'm speaking English, you're speaking English. So what's the difference? But one thing is like making it clear and concise. I would say communication is one of, they will tell, you will hear that a lot. Oh, I can't hear you, you've got an accent. Everybody's got an accent. But it's just that, making it clear and concise.
Okay. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. I think this is one thing that gets lost on a lot of people who had education in English, right? You had education in English all of your life, and you actually worked in an industry where it's English that they are speaking. By the way, some of you guys actually travel to international locations for meetings.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So then you come into Canada and all you are hearing is pardon me, right?
Yes.
So it's like you said, it's something that it really throws people off. Let's just say it the way it is. That you
Yeah.
mean
Then can I just
go ahead.
Then even like in the process for some like at a particular time, I took English, teaching English as a second language at U of M. So that helped a little bit because in the process I could assess people's English if you are in level 1, level 2, level 3, or level 4. So that helped me a little bit in being able to when I'm talking, this is what is expected of me. This is what, because for we Nigerians, it's a different ball game. The way we relate is different. Our culture, our office culture is different from Canadian culture. So that's one thing I learned in the process as well. And it could be a disadvantage if you feel or if you don't know what to do. You might go for interview and say, oh, you did very well, but they might not tell you the underlining stuff. It could be your communication skill. It could be they're just, I would say for a better word, they just zero their mind once they see a black person, even if you have all the certification in the world.
Interesting. So communication definitely is one of the major challenges, and I agree totally. I had my own struggle, and one thing I also would like to let people know is that even when you are employed, you're working, communication is still a challenge, and you need to address it. Because while I was working at the University of Manitoba, this is also one of the issues that I experienced there. My own was actually writing. Okay, so you know how we write big grammars and all of that stuff. But when you write these big things, right, you lose your audience because your audience. One thing about your audience is they want to get what you are saying. But then when you write in these big grammars and all of these big vocabularies, it is not accessible to your audience. And then in that process, you are not really communicating. So this, there is also the speaking one. So the writing one is there. There's also the spoken communication issues as well that I believe Funke has been able to elaborate on. So definitely that's one major key challenge. So I would like to try Daniel this time. I think Daniel is ready to share that with us in terms of his own key challenges.
Okay, for me, the first speaker highlighted, communication was equally an issue for me. I remember where I was in the warehousing operations. I reached out to my senior operations manager then. I said, hey, look, I told you my background, my experiences. I said, well, I can fit into a role of an operations supervisor. I've done similar things before. I've led a team back home and all that. But he told me, say, well, the only problem I'm having with you is that you have an accent. Because you are working in a team, you should go to speak clearly, communicate clearly your objectives and all that. I said, well, there shouldn't be an issue. I speak in English and all that. So that was one of the challenges I had. So as a result of that, I couldn't really get any breakthrough where I was. So I started looking out, how can I get opportunity elsewhere? And even after my program in supply chain management. Supply chain is fast, right? So I had an interview with one of my professors. He was always insisting, what are your skill sets you have? Which area do you want to, you want to venture into supply chain? My objective was just, let me just get a job. Let me just get out what I'm doing, So I couldn't really pinpoint exactly where I want to go into. So it was a challenge for me. It was at some point and I started reaching out to professionals. I said, okay, let me explore. Since supply chain, we have operations, inventory, management, and lots. I said, okay, procurement, purchasing will be another very good area for me to venture into. So I started looking into that, connecting with some professionals and getting inside. The other problem was now I've not had any of such experience here in Canada. So how will I be able to transition into those roles? It became a major challenge for me. So these were basically the challenges I was having until I was able to get across to Abiodun, who now directed me in the right direction, and the others now became history.
Okay, thanks. So you also talk about the communication challenges. So Chidima, I hope you have a different one to share with us.
So my basically was lack of confidence. Yes, I wasn't too sure I could succeed as a business analyst. Yeah, because I know Abiodun, he did a lot. He would go through he went through my skill set, went through my strengths, went through my weaknesses, and then he tried to reassure me that these are things I've done, even if I was a chemist. So it's something I can always transfer. So he just made me realize that you have transferable skills to practice as a business analyst. So really, the way I was able to overcome these challenges was meeting Abiodun. He built my confidence actually. Yeah. So.
Making me blush, yeah.
But that's the fact. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think one thing that I can take from Chidima's comment here is, honestly speaking, I see this over and over and over. And the reason why I always like to let people understand what supply chain is, that it is just the industry. But a lot of people, when they have experience in the industry already, and they are trying to approach, let's say, project management, supply chain, or business analysis, they tend to think that, all of that I had before now doesn't count. And when it comes to confidence, just like Chidima said, that now you realize that on your own, you already discounted your experience. You see where the lack of confidence is coming from. Now, you didn't count it as valuable experience. Now, tell me how you are going to convince an hiring manager that you actually had a valuable experience. That will be difficult because even you yourself, you are discounting it. And this also happens to a lot of people who graduated from school and they haven't had any experience whatsoever. Whereas there are a lot of experience you had even while you were in school, even though we know that these experiences were not hands-on experience, but they are transferable skills that you probably even gain maybe by volunteering, by doing all sort of things, or even working in groups, leading groups within your class and all that. There are a lot of things that you can use as transferable skill sets when you're speaking with and hiring manager. But a lot of the time we have discounted those things even ourselves. So to even now present it to another person will become a major challenge, thereby the lack of confidence that Chidinma is talking about. So I think it's only Grace that hasn't shared yet with us what our own key challenges were. If you can, please go ahead.
Yeah, my challenges is not different from everyone's one. Communication was the first one. Go to interviews and they're like, they can't hear you, they don't understand what you're saying. Also skill sets. They are not sure that you're not confident about your skill set. And that's where the confidence thing came about, because you're not able to convince them, because communication in the first place is already a barrier. And then I think another one that I experienced in workplace is expectations. I don't know if to call it expectations or value, adding value to an organization. So even after you are being employed, and they see your certifications and then your educational background and qualifications, they are expecting their expectations is really high. They expect that they should be able to add value to the organization. So I will say being able to add value as well to the organization, and I will say the root cause is usually lack of confidence. These are things that you already know how to do, you know what to do, but being able to put them together and present it to add value to the organization. Those were all my own personal struggles that I went through in the organization that I've worked. And then after I fail in one instance, I learn my lessons, and then I make sure that in the next instance, I'm able to work on my self-confidence, my skill set, and my communication in order to be able to add value to the organization.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I think the one that I would like to take now is we want to know if there are some specific skills. I know some of you guys already mentioned in between in this discussion, but are there specific skills or certifications you found that were crucial for success in your new field that you have recently embraced? So I think we'll go with Grace first.
So for me, certifications have been my basic thing that have been able to help me to break through barriers in the Canadian working environment. My first certification was certified custom specialist. That certification was what was able to get me into trade compliance. After I did that, I wasn't satisfied. I knew I could do more, and I wanted the career path in supply chain. So I had to do CSCP, and CSCP, I would say, was the major certification that I wrote that was able to help me to get into proper supply chain role, which is a material planner. From material planner, I was able to progress into a buyer. So those two certifications played a very vital role in my transition. Also, the data analytics bootcamp that I attended also helped me. So I knew that in order to be able to break those barriers, I had to upskill, data analytics skill, and then the certifications as well as the education. So without the education, the certifications, and after you're able to land the certifications and the education will land you the job interview.
Yeah.
So at the interview, you have to be able to use your skill sets to pass that interview. So the certification and education will get the job interview, help me to get the job interview. And then the other skills that I learned help me to successfully pass the interview session. So,
right. So CSCP, you mentioned the custom specialist certification, right? Okay, great. Thanks, Grace. So yeah, I know some of you haven't really acquired an industry certification yet. So, but you can mention specific skills that has helped regardless. So let's go for Daniel.
Okay, for me, what really helped me was in as much as I've not gotten any certification, I had to rely on my weight of my previous work experience in the bank, because I know when I had engagement with Abiodun, was saying you had a lot of transferable skills, because it's just I could not really relate them to supply chain as it here. You know, I was into the financial industries, and at some point I was in charge of managing vendors in my branch. I was relating with ATM vendors, relating with suppliers, relating with contractors that come for repairs in the bank and all that. These are what we do this procurement, right? We negotiate with them, contract and all those stuff. So I've already brought all those things to my knowledge, and I now started highlighting those in my resume. Those skills I've had, because I've always said, since I don't have the experience here in Canada, I need to relate it back to what I've done back in my own country. So in Canada, I was into warehousing operations, so there was no relation between procurement, buying, with what I'm doing. So I had to fall back on my experience, my transferable skills I have back in the bank. And another thing, he suggested that I go for a procurement certificate, a newly introduced procurement certificate with ASCM. So when I got that, I added that to my resume. It started to give me more visibility for recruiters to reach out to me, and to a large extent, that helped me land my first role in the procurement.
Awesome. So Chidima, let's hear you. And then we'll go for Funke.
Yeah, so I would say mine was getting CBAP certification. Yeah, because I already had a BSc in chemistry, although I do have an MBA. But when you look at job adverts, most of them, they always request for CBAP. So I had to get that certification. And with that, I was able to get some organizations who called me up for interview. And apart from the certification, I would say being a chemist, I had to ensure that the analytical skills as a chemist, I had to transfer it also into the role. So the analytical background also helped me. Yeah, in
Okay, so
transition.
the analytical skills. Yeah. So and I remember, here is the thing about those who are transitioning to business analysis. Especially if you haven't really worked in, let's say, you haven't really worked in a role like supply chain role, like a procurement role. A lot of people, I remember that challenge specifically, that when you were drafting your resume, you drafted your resume for an IT business analyst role. And this is why I say that you are not leveraging your strength, because you are going for a role where that is not really your forte. And a lot of people are doing that, because when they say business analysis, the only thing that comes into their head is IT. And I know a lot of people out there who talk about business analysis, they always attach it to IT, but that is not really the fact. Business analysis cuts across, they call it business for a reason. They called it business for a reason. So anything that has to do with business processes, there is an analytical part of it, or there is an analysis part of it, and that is why they gave it that name. Fine, most of the time these days, it's always when we're talking about IT that is mentioned or that is emphasized. But we have, when you really look at supply chain, everything we do is actually business analysis. There is no point that you want to make a decision or you want to do some type of tactical process like negotiation, or like you want to do strategic sourcing. All of these things are analysis. But then it now depends on how you see and how you're able to leverage it with confidence, knowing fully that business analysis is speaking to whatever business process that you are interested in. So in business analysis also, there are several segments. There is the IT one, which everybody always focus on, but there is also the continuous improvement one. There is the business process one. There is ERP one. There is which we will call that IT as well, but mainly it's about business process transformation, right? Then there's also those who will focus in specific areas like the SAP ERP business analysis. There's also supply chain business analysis, for crying out loud, right? So one thing I see a lot of people not doing in that regards is they are not really connecting it to the experience that they had in the industry, even though they have had 17 years experience, which is actually what makes them the right candidate for business analysis, because they are a subject matter expert. Even somebody who has 5 years experience or 6 years experience is already a subject matter expert in that field. And they could actually leverage it into the business analysis career, maybe something like a business transformation improvement and all of those type of things. So let's go to Funke. I think it's Funke that hasn't really talked when it comes to these skills and certifications.
Okay. Well, for me, like when I met Abiodun, it's one thing I realized is I needed to work on my Excel skills. So even though I know that yes, I have the analytical skill, but being able to understand and interpret data goes a long way in supply chain, and especially with inventory, you do that a lot. So that came to play. I had to learn. I had to do data analysis, more like a program online, so that I will have a broader view and understand what I am getting into. Then as well, I learned SAP ERP. I found that most of the job advertisement I see, they always put it there. Either you must, as in part of it, understand ERP/SAP, and that in particular goes a long way. That's one thing I think the skill set I had to learn as a person in the process. So ERP, SAP, then there are some other stuff that I had to learn on my own. Then doing something self-study wise, just to make sure that to help me. So immediately I finished the data analysis program and I included it on my resume. I got people call me, even though I have supply chain management training on my resume. But that's because when you go for interview and they ask you, oh, that in particular Excel skills, and you had to walk your way through, maybe give them an example of what you've done and stuff like that, and being able to relate it to the present day. So that really helped me. The data analysis program helped, and SAP ERP also helped me as well.
Right, awesome. Thanks for sharing. I think we kind of went around everybody already in terms of the certifications and the skills. The other question that actually popped up in my head is relating to resume, since we're talking about skills and how you're able to actually adapt this for any role that you are, exploring. How did you tailor your resume to make it stand out? Are there specific things that you were able to do to make your resume stand out? And the reason why that this question is very important is this: you see, you have a different background industry perhaps that you are working, but then you are targeting something where you never really had an hands-on experience. So can you share with us specifically those things that you were able to do to make your resume stand out for interview purposes or shortlisting purposes?
Yeah, for me, though I had prior experience, that was which is beyond 10 years. But one thing I realized is that those experiences, just like what you said earlier, those experiences still come to play. So after I went back to school, did the course. Fortunately, I had my internship with WRHA, where in the logistics department. So I had some hands-on experience with SAP, even though it wasn't that much. It was just for 6 weeks, but I sponged off as much as I can from the person that was taking me through, and I asked questions. So that really helped. I was taking notes just to find out things that helped me. So in the process, I tailored my resume. After internship, I threw it out. But I found out that I wasn't getting any interviews. I wasn't the one I got. They were just giving me. It wasn't what I wanted, and I said no. So fortunately I was able to meet Theodore, and it was just like, well, one thing is like you not your resume is not one size fits all. It's not I would say not generic. So it's like your resume has to be tailored towards the application the job you're applying for, and trying to look at those things, the keywords. There, in the process, I learned something from Biodo that the job scan, so which really helped me. While you input the job advertisement, it runs through it and it gives you the important keywords, and you can use those words and tweak your resume to meet that. It was a bit of struggle for me at first, but it kept telling me that you can do it. You have a lot of experience on your resume and you can tweak it. So it's like giving it, we only worked on it, make it look nice and own it.
Yeah.
Because it's a different ballgame for you to write a resume and they call you for interview and you're just
struggling,
trying to scratch the surface. So owning it and branding yourself, I will say that you own it, you see yourself in it. So when they ask you questions, you can flow easily. And it took a lot of I would say a lot of sweat, because I did the analysis test with him, the SWOT, and just to be able to know my stand, what makes me, and that has been helping me all the way. So I'll say tailoring your resume, not making it just one cap fit all. That's one. Okay. 2 is know the industry you are applying into, research about them as well. Then if you can send go on LinkedIn and send maybe you might not get the response, but if you can find people that work in that company, it does help. That's one thing I learned as well in the process. And networking with people. You can have interview, just a random interview with some people that you send them a nice request. The other taught me that, and it did work, because I was able to have an insight into the company I'm applying into. If somebody did respond, just polite questions to ask, and it goes a long way. Yeah. That's just what I'll say.
So I think what we'll do is we will ask, since you started talking about the networking part of it, I think we'll ask Daniel to further buttress this, because I think he would also like to talk about, how to build your professional network in regards to what Funke just said now. So Daniel, can you please add to what she just said now?
Okay. So the whole ball game changed for me when I came across Appeal. How did I come across? I mean, it was through a friend that got to know that I was doing a program supply chain. I said, he checked online. There's one association, one group. He got online. I should reach out to them and be of help. So at that point, I connected to Appeal. I said, okay, I really want to break into the procurement space. How do I do that? So we had some sessions. He ran me through my resume. He said you have to work your resume, to speak to that procurement aspect. So even though you've not had the procurement experience here in Canada, but there's a way you can tweak your resume to incorporate some of those procurement functions into what you do in your present role. Though job title may not carry titles like a procurement or purchasing, but some of those functions, working as a team with the procurement team, doing some things with them and all that will give you some visibility for interview. So I did that. The equally said another thing that will help you is being strategic. First of all, you need to work on your LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very, very good in the job search, right? So a lot of recruiters, they reach out to candidates via LinkedIn. So you have to overhaul my LinkedIn profile, give it a better outlook. Then I did that.
Now you did picture too, right?
Sorry? Yes,
Yeah.
picture too. So he said the picture seemed to be very, very nice, and it was very, very professional and inviting. He did all of that. Then he said you have to keep what? Connecting with industry professionals. Go for searches for those that are into procurement, purchasing, connect with them. Send them invites for connection. If you can have coffee chats with them, you can have coffee chats with them, I started doing a lot of that. I started building my connections. The number of persons I had on my LinkedIn profile started growing. I engaged in a lot of them. Some of them gave me an audience through phone calls. I was getting insight from them. Okay, what does this role work? How does it work? Things to look out for, the necessary skills to have. Even within the supply chain network too, some of our members that are here, I reached out to them. They were very, very instrumental to me. They're very, very helpful. They're patient, answering my questions, providing me insights on what I want to do. So they're even giving me leads to some companies, how to break into that particular area. Then, like what the previous speaker mentioned, there's need for you to look for somebody within the organization. If you see a job posting that you like, I already told me that. Look for somebody within the company there that can provide you information as to who the hiring manager is. Some kind of insight that will help you ace your interview. And I did all of that. I was networking a lot. I had a lot of engagement with professionals. It gave me a lot of insights. And at the end, I was able to Abiodo was already telling me, just for you to get your feet in, just get your feet in. If you can just have that one opportunity, then you are good to go. So when I had the opportunity, I reached out to one of my, because I think he's even in now. The guy was really very helpful to me. He gave me an interview prep. He helped to build my confidence that you can do this thing. Speak confidently when you are in interview with them. He gave me some insights, what kind of questions to ask, how to go about answering those interview questions, and to God be the glory. When I had that one opportunity, and I was able to get it. That's how I got my feet into the procurement or purchasing role that I'm presently in today. But fortunately enough, I'm into the aircraft space, and I decided to follow along that path. What I'm doing.
Great, awesome. So, what I will do before Funke leaves, because Funke might have to leave soon. Funke, I would like you to provide an advice for newcomers on effective networking strategies, or perhaps if there's any specific advice that you would like to give to newcomers that are looking to transition into supply chain.
Well, for me, I'll say volunteer. Volunteering does help, and it's an opportunity to be able to connect with industry professionals, like-minded people, and you might land a job in the process. That's one thing. Networking, then attending industry events goes a long way. I was able to meet 1-2 people, and it helps in expanding and seeing things from the lens of the industry we are in, which really does help as well. And for me, I would say your LinkedIn profile, keep increasing it, keep chatting with people. You don't know. They send you a message, they just want to have a chat with you. So I'll say, for me, volunteering, attending industry events, those key things. Then groups, just like the Syria projects, the WhatsApp group, and the Supply Job Canada. It goes a long way because you can leverage on that. You can piggyback on people, and they will be able to direct and mentor you well. That's what I can say for now.
Okay. So, on top of that, I would like to ask before you go, any pitfalls or common mistakes you recommend avoiding during transition?
Any pitfall, I'll say that don't take no for an answer. That's one. Then brand yourself. You own your set resume. Then what I would say is that for the pitfall aspect, I'll say what I can say really is just try as much as possible. Work on even your weakness can be made as your strength. So that's one thing. So don't, just like I think Chidima said, self-confidence. That could for me, I didn't push myself, I'll still be where I am, and nothing will change. I'll just keep complaining or saying, oh, so all I can say is like, don't try as much as possible, see yourself beyond where you are, and keep pushing.
Great, awesome. Thanks so much, Funke. And I think on that note, you can leave, but if you can share your LinkedIn, in the chat so that people can connect with you, because this is also an opportunity for people to reach out, and you never know. I mean, there are roles at Cabela at the moment, and if we have people who are qualified to apply, why not? As long as it's something that they are interested in. So I would say reach out to Funke if you are exploring career in inventory, especially in the retail space. Okay, thanks, Daniel. So, Daniel, I think the question thanks, Funke. The question I would like to ask you, Daniel, is in line with what Funke just mentioned. Are there any specific pitfall or mistakes that you would like to speak to that those who are transitioning or newcomers try to avoid as they transition?
Yeah, I know this in the interview is always a big challenge because the interviews are different, right? So, like, you may feel you didn't do well in one particular interview, but there's always a takeaway from those interviews. Take note of those. Abiola was always telling me, take note of those questions they ask, right? Research about them, look for better answers on how to answer those particular questions professionally. So I think I did a lot of that, and have some reservoir of value propositions you should have, like 5. So once you have those value propositions, it goes a long way to help. So, and being able to walk around those value propositions. So to tie it to whatever questions that the interviewers will be asking in relation to that particular job function, will really go a long way to help you. Practice, do a lot of practice. Let those value propositions become part of you. By the time you do that, it will help you a lot. And never give up, because you never know when the right job will come. Just apply, keep attending interviews, because a lot of applicants are applying for those roles too. So just keep applying and trust in God that it will come. And above all, connect with people. Always ask for insight, ask questions a lot, and that will help you break through. If you're able to get one opportunity in, then others are becoming, there will be history. By the time you're able to get in, you cannot begin to navigate your way through and continue to grow in that particular area. And like I always say, Abiola was really, really very instrumental to me landing that job that I got. So reach out to those, the contacts we have in the supply job network, and connect with them. If you have concerns, issues, reach out. Many of them are very, very, very helpful. Just engage them, chat them, ask if they can give you a couple of minutes of their time. And if they respond, utilize it very well. Ask them a series of questions you want to ask for insights, what to do, how to better answer interview questions and all that. So always reach out. We are all we are all a member of a team, and everybody is always willing to help.
Awesome. Thanks so much. I think I have a question here. Should I downplay my role as senior contracts and procurement specialist to get shortlisted for interview? Okay, I'll come to these questions because Daniel would like to leave for other business matters. I mean, family matters. So, is there any parting word for those who are listening to you in the audience, Daniel?
yeah, never give up. Trust is a process. They will always have this talk about trust the process, right? Everything is a process. Getting a good job in Canada is and always very easy for some persons to get it easily, while some other persons they pass through a lot for them to get it. So everybody's story is different, right? So just believe in yourself, have confidence, continue to improve on what you don't know, what you will improve on yourself, and just trust the process. Keep applying, get insight from previous interviews you've had. Even if you go on an interview and you didn't get the job, there are a lot of takeaways. Note some of those interview questions, research how best to answer those questions, and just trust in God. The job will come. Once it's yours, it definitely will come. Don't ever give up. Stay positive in all that you do, and keep trusting in God. The job will come.
Good. Thanks so much, Daniel. So, thanks for coming in to share with us. If you can put your LinkedIn also in the chat box so that people can reach out to you if they have questions, follow-up questions with you, please do that. So I will go to Chidima and Grace. Chidima, Grace, there's this question that I'd really like to ask you guys. If you guys can share with us insights on the interview processes you guys went through, what are some insights that you can share in your interviews that led to your first role, in business analysis and also for great supply chain? Are there any specific insights when it comes to interview that you can share with us?
Okay, so I would like to say, like other speakers said, when I got an interview invite, the first thing I did was to go on LinkedIn to look for business analysts with the government of Manitoba. So I chatted with a couple of them to know how the interview goes, and one of them guided me and told me that everything, like the job description, everything on the advert, I have to go through them. They don't ask anything outside that what has been advertised. And then also with Abiodun's coach of the training I went through with Abiodun, he taught me how to use the STAR approach. So I'm being asked, I just give an example. Okay, can you tell me? You do say you have experience analyzing projects. Can you tell me more about that? And then I use the STAR approach in answering the questions. So I'm not just trying to say, yes, I have great analytical skills. So I'm also giving them scenarios of where I have carried out these analytical skills in my previous jobs, the result from what happened, and also I'm also telling them my achievements. So using the STAR approach really helped me a lot. And yes, so I'll say using the STAR approach helped me landing my job with the government of Manitoba.
Awesome. So I'm sure if you guys have listened to some of our mock interviews, we always emphasize that on our mock interviews, and I think Chidima also was one of them on one of the mock interviews specifically for business analysis. And then through that we got a lot of insight from some of our senior colleagues who themselves are hiring managers, and this is the one thing that is very, very valuable about that mock interview. By the way, we're having that next week. We're going to be having mock interviews for procurement roles. I think we have about 3 people that are going to be on that, and this is also one of those things that will highly encourage people to participate. Even if you are not the candidate, join in, because it's going to really provide insights as to how to effectively respond to interview questions. Grace, if you can share similarly in terms of interview, what are those things that you would like to share with us?
For me, what helped Number one, just like Chidima said, is answering questions using the STAR approach. That really helped. And then I would say owning your resume, like Funke said earlier on, being able to own your resume. First, after you have been able to build a resume, you should be able to own it and prepare for all the questions using the STAR approach. I can remember scenarios where I reached out to people in this network, in the Canada Jobs Network, through the WhatsApp group, and then I reach out to them like, okay, I have this interview, how do I prepare? So practice, practice. People that are already in the industry, like what will be the expectations of my interviewers? So I sit down and then do a practical session with people that are already in the industry who will guide me towards the questions, the likely questions, and how I'm expected to answer it. Because I've had several interviews that after the interview, I myself knew that I did do well. And those pitfalls is what made me to realize that no, interview is not all about telling them about your qualifications. It's not about telling them what you can do, but you must be able to answer their questions based on what they are expecting from you in regards to that role. So I would say mentorship, finding people who that guide you, especially for me from this interview, this is the role, this is what is on my resume. So you must be able to match what's on your resume. That's the owning aspect. What's on your resume and what's on the job advert, and being able to present it in such a way that you be a preferable candidate.
Awesome.
So I think that's it. So.
Awesome. Thanks so much. So just as we had with Funke and Daniel, if Grace, Chidima, you're still there too. Can you, in maybe about 5 minutes thereabout, can you share with us some of the pitfalls or mistakes or things that they should avoid in their transition um, to their desired roles?
Let me go first. I'll say in transitioning, number one, continuous learning is key. Skill development is key. You evaluate yourself, find out areas where you know that, sorry to say, but from where we came from, our skill set is a little bit, it requires brushing up. So for anybody, when you come, no matter how good Excel skills you have, you still really need to brush up your Excel, the analytical skill, being able to interpret data, not just working on Excel sheets. After you have manipulated those data, to be able to interpret it to bring value to the organization. So continuous learning, skill development, attending seminars, industry events, like I know supply jobs organize some of these events. So those things are going to be things that will enlighten you and open you up to the industry and what you expect. But then it is very, very key that you yourself have to be skilled and develop yourself, have the necessary education, necessary certifications, and then also the skills.
Okay, thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Chidima, can you do the same thing for us? And we'll just wait to see if there are any comments from those ones you have shared.
Yeah, I would say when I got my feedback, I prepared for the exam and I passed. Yeah, after I wrote the exam, so I just ventured and started throwing my resume without proper guidance. So I never got called for any interview. Yeah, I remember I got one interview and then when I interviewed with the HR, I was just talking like just more of theory, what I'd read in CBAR. So later on, I discovered that I was not even talking like I've actually worked, like I had any experience on the job. It was more of theory. So I would advise everyone, if you are trying to transition into any role, it's very important to get a mentor, especially in that field, that'll be able to guide you. Um, on the yes, on the job application, and also before you go for interviews, essentially you have a mentor. I I had a Abiodun. I went through the mock interview, and also I remember Abiodun advice. At the point, I was looking for like business analyst. I brought a couple of people to Abiodun, and he advised me, "Oh, go for these other people." So yeah, so it's good to have good mentors that would guide you right in your career field. Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. So, any parting word, Grace and Chidima? Like any other
Okay,
thing
so
that you'd like to add to what you have said already?
yeah, I would like to advise everyone. I know it's quite frustrating. Yes, I was. It was frustrating. Yeah, to break through. Yeah, because when you come in, it looks like you can never get a professional job. Yeah, so I would say don't give up. Also, when you're transitioning, don't do not feel like you do not have those skills, like do not have hands on. Just be confident of yourself. And I mean, we're very smart. We're Nigerians are smart people. We're intelligent people. We can go anywhere. So just know that you just need that confidence and know that you're going to break through. So never give up. Keep applying. Yes, it's challenging when you're applying and then you tell people, oh, I've submitted to over 100 companies and nobody has called me. Yeah, but just be patient. The right one will come.
Thanks so much, Chidima. Really appreciate your time here today. So the once Grace is done, we'll just hear if there are comments from the audience, and I will also share some set of strategies that will help to capture all of the things that we've heard today from our guests here, so that this will be like a key take home for everybody that is joining us on how to pursue their job search goals or transitions for this year. So, Grace, I'll go for it.
Yeah, for me, I will say don't give up. I'll use my personal experience. I wrote CSCP 6 times. I passed on the sixth one. So it takes determination, hard work, but don't give up. Don't settle for less. Initially, I was going for bigger roles. I had to come down. I started at the entry level. Once you have the necessary education, certification, and the skill set, you will eventually break through. I found out that then the growth becomes very sporadic. It becomes very quick because you already have all that you need to have. So yes, I started as a material planner, and in less than 12 months, I was able to get. I started at a very low salary, and then I got an increase, 50% increase, and then before I knew it, another additional 40% increase. So I started low, and then it grew. So I would say, don't give up. Don't be too shy to start from anywhere, whatever role you find first, as long as your feet is launching into the supply chain field, you take it and then you'll be able to start from there. And don't give up. Frustrations will set in. You almost want to give up. You want to almost even go back to to our countries, but don't give up. So whenever you want to give up, just remember that Grace wrote CSCP certification 6 times. And on the
Okay,
sixth time, my CSCP certification frustration was what led me to Abiodun.
yeah.
And then I'm like, I will just, when you are reaching out to somebody and it's just frustration stories, and I'll be like, I've been writing this thing. I've never failed an exam, but the CSCP, I'm not passing it. And eventually I passed it. And so I'm sure you all do well. Don't just give up. That's just it.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Taking this time out of your, family time on Saturday. You guys probably have other things that you are really trying to catch up with during the weekend, but still make out the time to share your insights. Very, very encouraging, inspiring to have you guys here. Thanks so much. In the next couple of few minutes, I will quickly share some insights, that captures everything that they have said here. And you guys, Chidima and Grace, if you would like to wait behind, that's okay. But if you would like to leave for other stuff, that's also totally fine. So I'm going to share my screen quickly. Bye, Grace, and bye, So, guys, if you want to use your emoji to express your, your reactions to the things that they were able to share with us today, that would be great. I really thank every one of you guys for making this happen. Let me quickly share this with you guys. If we would like to, kind of capture everything that you have said here today, and as you've heard from everybody here, these are guys that I actually worked with directly in terms of job search coaching, and I just thought, okay, why don't just bring these all these guys together and let them share their experience as to what they have been able to uh, learn during this transition process. Sometimes it could really be challenging, like I said. Sometimes you even have experience. I mean, you have 17 years experience, you have all those experiences, but then you come to Canada, it doesn't count for the most part. And even where they are hiring you, they'll still be giving you some conditions and things like that. So it could really be discouraging. So one thing I also would take away from what these guys have said here, communication skills is very key. We had our communication workshop in the past few months, and surprisingly, only two people actually showed up in that workshop. Yeah, it's very cheap. It's $280 before taxes, right? And for me, I feel like that is the Gloria, who is the consultant that we're working with in the communication skills, made this workshop so that it could be accessible to newcomers. If she was doing it normally, if she was doing this, she wouldn't be charging anything less than $600 for it. But then she made it accessible to people at 280, and only two people showed up. And this is something that I myself struggle with when it comes to communication skill. I still go for these sessions with her every time because like you have that tendency to switch back to your comfort zone, and before you know it, you're not speaking, you're not communicating clearly. So communication skill is very, very important. Another one is coming up in March. I would like to encourage you guys to show up. I think the one that were they just had, there were two guys who attended that actually they were on our session last week, and they shared their experience. Some of them you could hear them that they are speaking, like you could hear them clearly, but still they realized that there were some issues that they actually haven't paid attention to. And as usual, this is something that another person would notice it clearly. Like a Canadian will see that, okay, well, there's a challenge here, but you might not notice. Of course, you've spoken English for the rest of your life, right? You think you're the English major or the English PhD still. These issues are cultural issues. It's about the differences between the Canadian and the culture you're coming from, and this creates barrier when it comes to communication. So I would highly encourage to address those. If you're looking for more information about all the things that we offer, it's supplychainschool.ca. I'll put the link here, but for now I'll just quickly go over these strategies when it comes to either you're transitioning or you're a newcomer, you're looking for your first job here in Canada. Leverage referrals. You will hear it from what many of these guys have just said. You need to look for somebody in that company and try to gain insights. So gaining insights from them is one thing, but you could also take it to the next level if you're able to build some type of relationship over time with them. So while it is okay to reach out while you're applying to this job, active job opportunity, it is actually even much more proactive and more effective to have reached out in advance. So don't wait until they posted a job is when you're now reaching out to them. Reach out to them already, even though there is no job posting, because the whole goal of this is to build relationship and add value, and that should be our goal every time as a professional, because our network is our net worth, right? So get a mentor, and a lot of them already mentioned it here, that You need a mentor. You could have had all the years of experience in Canada, and yet you haven't really been exposed to some things that will help you overcome these issues. Because the way you are viewing it will be different from the way somebody else who have had experience working with a lot of other guys and trying to see, where those challenges are that are unique to you, to be able to help you overcome those barriers. This is what mentors does. Mentors are models. Mentors are those people who have made the mistakes already. They have paid for those mistakes. Why should you then continue to pay for these mistakes? Either years of not being fulfilled because you are doing a lower level job, or you're doing a job that you feel you're not satisfied in it. Why suffer through all of that when you have somebody who could give you insights or even share some their connections with you as well? That's also another thing with mentor. They could connect you with the people whom you will really have not met at all. So these are all of the reasons why you need a mentor. And if you look at any successful person at all, regardless of their field, regardless of their aspirations, you will find out that they always have mentor. I have mentors as well. So get a job search strategy. So that's also another one. So you need to have a job search strategy. So one of the key job search strategy that I will always emphasize, because the other strategy is what everybody kind of do. They don't do this other one, is socializing your job search. Socialize your jobs, and you heard it a lot in the comments or in how they share today. You need to socialize. You socialize meaning you're not doing it on your own. You're connecting to different groups. You're going out volunteering. You're attending industry events. You're connecting with your industry professionals. You're setting up meetings with them. It's a coffee chat or a Zoom chat. This is basically socializing your job search. So it's not like you're just doing the regular paperwork, because at the end of the day, it's people that would hire you. It's not the paper that hires you. So this is why socializing your job search is very critical. If you are a project management professional, a business analyst, we call this stakeholder engagement, right? It's the same thing in job search. It's what we call socializing your job search. You need to influence those people who have maybe interest or who have influence in terms of making those goals that you are pursuing a reality for you. And for this reason, socialization is a key strategy in job search. SWOT resume. I think SWOT resume is a concept relating to what Funke mentioned about making sure that you tailor your resume to the specific role you're applying to. Don't do pray and spray, it is not effective. Even though it feels like you are doing a lot in terms of the number of jobs you're applying to, but how many interviews are you actually getting? That is the result. If you're not getting the results that are commensurate with the effort you're putting in, then you need to review what you're doing and start doing things differently. She mentioned the job scan tool. Yeah, that's one of those tools there. But SWOT basically it's at a is a lean philosophy to writing resume, which I developed. So this is like my own innovation, and the way it is done, you would realize that you have been doing resumes the wrong way all the time, and this is the reason why you're not getting results. Seek feedback. Feedback is a lot of things that has to do with getting some type of learning process into your job search. That there is somebody who can kind of look over what you're doing and say, okay, maybe we'll do this differently. I think it was Daniel that mentioned that um, I think Daniel mentioned that he did a mock interview. That's also a kind of feedback, because you want to know that things are where you need to, get better. So through this mock interview, you also improve your confidence, because now you see you are doing it, or you're doing it with the guidance of senior professionals, and this in a way helps to um, improve your mental readiness even for the actual interview. And you will see the way we'll do it next week. We have one scheduled for next week, and through this we provide feedback. Daniel also mentioned that he writes down, the questions after the interview so that he could process it properly and then know, okay, maybe next time if he's asked the same question, this is how to answer. So this is also kind of, personal feedback, just like your journaling, and using that as a way for you to get better. Then upgrading your mindset. A lot of them mentioned it today. They said, don't give up. But really, the key thing here is that know that whatever you're going through that for a reason, and you are doing that so that you are being prepared for something bigger. If you always think about struggles this way, you would realize that you will have better attitude to success. And like I mentioned last week, success is a controlled failure. And I'm saying this from my experience. There is no success out there that is not about somebody taking actions to address or to reposition or to review or to guide until you get a better outcome. That is what success is. It is about responding to an event. And in these cases, we're talking about failure events, right? If you go to interviews, um, they didn't select you, that's a failure event. It's not you that failed. It's the failure event is what you need to address. But people who don't have this type of mindset we're talking about is what we call fixed mindset. So people who have fixed mindset will always see that failure as their own failure. But people who have a growth mindset will see that failure as a failed event, and they will start responding properly in a way that, okay, what can I do differently? And then that leads them towards actually getting a successful outcome from any future interview or any future endeavor. Like Grace mentioned, she had to do CSCP for 6 times. I wish we had our, cohort already. Maybe it should have been one of our cohort to avoid having to go through all of that struggle, right? And so that is where I will leave it for us today. I don't know if anybody has any comments or any question, but I think earlier I saw a question from Angie, talked about, does she have to lower um, role as senior contracts and procurement specialist to get shortlisted? I would say no and yes. The no is your experience. It's about how you position your experience. In terms of the roles that you're applying to, I think that is the yes. Basically, you're a senior contracts and procurement specialist. Apply to regular contract specialist role. The moment you are in, you spend 3 months within that company or 6 months, they will be the one to be begging you to become senior. Otherwise, you go out. I mean, if they see the value you're adding, they see it's at a different level that you are actually adding value to the organization, they will be the one willing to promote you. And if they don't do it, it's their loss, because then you can, at that point, all of the experience you had prior now counts. That's the way it works. And you can apply to even managerial roles, because you are already at a level where they see what you can do, and then all you have done prior now counts, and you can apply to a higher level role. And I will also say you should not only just rely on the experience, also get validation of that experience. And this is where the issue of certification comes in. Get validation of your experience. If you are a senior procurement contract specialist, but you don't really have a certification to back it up, that also would be an issue, because all the experience you had back home is back home. If you don't have any global certification to back it up as a valid proof, then they might as well say, well, it's all resume and all that, until I see something that validates this for me, either as a Canadian work experience or an industry certification of repute. As well just discount the experience they have on their resume. So all of these things really really matter in terms of how you approach. So I don't know, I don't see any other question. So I was saying that we have different resources, event schedule. So they mention all type of skills, data analytics skills, SAP skills. So we have scheduled all of these in the supplychainschool.ca website. You will see all these events that we have scheduled. For data analytics, SAP MM, we have one also scheduled for CSCP certification. We started today. We have for PMP, which will start in April. So all of those resources are there. We're also providing funding. If it's something that you know you need funding for this, I would definitely encourage you to reach out so that we can set you up with our funding partner to see how we can support with that. So that's all I think I have seen here today so far. Thanks everybody for joining. Really appreciate it. I hope this is of value to every one of you guys. And we're looking forward to the mock interview next week. We're going to be having 3 candidates. And I hope you will join to also learn from their experience. Thanks. I'll be shutting down for today if we don't have any questions. But I would like to know if anybody has any comment or anything to add to what we have said so far here today. If you can unmute and let us know if you have any comment or a question. Okay, there's something in the chat box. Okay. Okay then. See you guys. I will put my I'll put my LinkedIn here if you want to connect. Yeah, that is absolutely welcome. And then for those who might want to maybe connect for assessment. So I do a 15 minutes assessment. So I'm going to share that link. Just give me a second here. Let me get that link. So I'll do 15 minutes. You can schedule that with me. And if you have any specific question, concern that you would not like to share on air with us, but you would like to get some assessment to see how you would address those issues, you can use this link. Okay, so I'm going to leave the Zoom session on so that anybody who wants to use any of this link that I'm putting here, you can use them. Let me get the link and LinkedIn. Okay, yeah, I'll share my LinkedIn here too. Yeah, so that's my LinkedIn. You can connect and stop sharing here. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave the thing on for some time so that people can. And if you are joining us for the first time, I will encourage also to share your LinkedIn. This is also an opportunity for you to expand your network so that people can connect with you. Share your LinkedIn, and we'll connect with you. Other guys who joined today and who are in the session can also connect with you, and then we keep building our network that way. For those of you who are not yet on our what's it called now? If you are not yet on our network, I'm also going to share with you a link to join, and from there we can bring you into our WhatsApp group. So we like to keep our WhatsApp group discreet, so we don't share it unless you are on that network already. So supplyjobs.ca. So that's how to join. Yeah, that's it right there. Okay. So that's it for today, guys. I'm going to be shutting down on LinkedIn, and then also here in a couple of minutes, I'm going to be stopping the transmission. Bye, guys, and have a great weekend.